Well, what's up, Tampa? It's May 15th, and for those of you just joining us, welcome to Tampa Talk. I'm John.
And I'm Dahlia. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, what are we talking about?
Well, we got updates from City Council, a strange legal battle involving the NFL, and another rough week for Tampa police headlines, as well as a story about a sober living home community rallying together after a fire. But first, this week in the work. And you know what? I honestly was just having a conversation about kind of explaining the work to a friend that's, I haven't been in touch with recently. And that's kind of like the toughest part.
What do you do?
Oh, what? Yeah.
I always go, I do stuff.
Yeah. And I think especially even for people who I see regularly, one day you're doing this thing, the next day you're doing that thing, and then people hear about our work in other ways and be like, oh, like tell me about that day at the job. I'm like, oh, what was it actually at the job when that, you know what I'm saying? Like it's so diversified. Whether you're somebody I'm talking to regularly or somebody I don't talk to every 4 years, then it's kind of tough to explain the work.
It can be. It really can be. And I know it also can be tough because there's so many plates spinning. It feels like you're switching hats all the time. I mean, like literally today, I was running the laundry and the drop because we had some volunteers out. We didn't have enough people to man it, but also payroll was due. So I was in the laundry room. We have the 3 machines going, and I was like, oh, thank God for the time it takes for the dryers to go, because I could like close the laundry room door. And I was in there trying to like run payroll or deposit some checks or kind of take care of some actual like admin work while running the service of the laundry at the overall kind of house of hospitality kind of thing. And so we're doing like a million different things. But also like for me, I this is why I like images. Like we set tables that community can sit around, where it's like, well, that's true of the drop, it's true of the garden, it's true of the bike shop, it's true of the ride, it's true of the, it doesn't give you the details. Like it's like, well, we do this and this and this and it can't. So were you able to explain it? How did you?
I think fine. I think fine, and it's interesting to me because I usually pull on what I think will resonate with that person, as like the main function of the work that we do, right? Like ultimately, I work for a nonprofit is like a very okay. So we're talking social services, kind of where people immediately go, but I really like to communicate that like social enterprise is a focal point and like the food system component, and then we transportation and homelessness, and so I have like a candid like a nonprofit organization. Ultimately, we try to do things in a social. I usually leave out social enterprise to the end, and I go, we work in the areas of transportation, homelessness, and food systems. And then as well as everything we do is around this idea of social enterprise. And I'll let that be the question of, are you familiar with social enterprise? And that's is kind of usually like the one-liner that kind of goes into it. And I think it is kind of cool when people say, well, like, what does the average day look like? Like I've heard that not so much in when people ask me about what I do, but when we interview people, well, tell me what an average day in the work looks like. And I'm like, okay, well, one day, you could be on the mobile kitchen at this event for Girl Scouts. And then the next day you could be in the office, on the computer. And then the next day, there could be something going on in the lineup at the Kinship Free Market. Like it just is so constantly changing. I mean, it's to me the most engaging part of the work. I think that is,
so Lindsay, who has worked with us just for like a year now, and we love her so much. We're so grateful to have her. Also, she's moving away. We knew that when we took her on. That's how we were able to get her for the year, because she was going to transition. She's moving away, and I'm so sad. But she's worked in similar location, even running a similar organization for some time, and she's been interviewing because she's going to a new place, and she's just going to get a job for a little while and just go live there. And so she's been interviewing for jobs, and this week she was like, interview questions, they're perfectly fine questions that make no sense in our world. Like they assume a work structure that just, and she's like, it's actually, I'm doing terrible. Like the interviews are really like, I come up with something, but I'm like, oh, there's like presuppositions to these questions that I work in a normal place.
And that's actually so funny you bring that up, because I was dealing that even with the, like, we're going through an audit right now. And so we have to explain a lot of our business functions. And it's like crazy sometimes how I explain something, or even like this reminds me of the interview questions. Cause a lot of times the interview questions be like, tell us about a time that you've dealt with conflict. I'm like, dealt with conflict? Like, you do really want me, like, if you're expecting like we didn't do well on this like shared project I was working on with my staff, like I
literally navigated yesterday like 3 situations where I one in particular I thought someone was going to get murdered, and
Yeah.
I'm or beat badly and physically
Yeah.
in the presence of everyone.
Yeah.
And in the end, they fist bumped, and the
It
one
was all
guy
good.
offered the other
Yeah.
guy a haircut, and I was like, but it's like, every
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. And it is cool because you're like all these skills we're developing are things that I think take people I mean, they've taken you of lifetime and
Yeah,
you
that's
know what I
right.
mean, to develop. And so when you talk about conflict resolution, our conflict resolution does not look like we forgot to replace the coffee creamer in the fridge in our staff shared office. It looks like de-escalating what would otherwise be
A
like
mental health crisis or
yeah,
like
or a
a
domestic violence,
yeah, that's exactly
dispute
right.
or charge
Literally,
or
literally.
um and even that translates to our staff environments. Like what our staff carries is a lot different too, right? And so yeah, this week in the work, it always looks that's why we do this segment. It always looks super different. Um, and I think Lindsay like I'm like, should I'll interview for Lindsay, like because I would love to tell people how fantastic she is.
Oh, they have no idea. She's like just
Yeah,
a Swiss Army knife of can do everything, and
yeah,
she does everything so well.
yeah,
By the way, though, even and then let's just say to people watching, and if you watch week after week, you know we do this week in the work every episode. And to be honest, a lot of times we're like, we'll go, "Hey, what are we gonna say this week?" And we both kind of go, "I don't know what happened."
yeah,
Like what happened this week? Because there are so many things in shifting gears where it's not like I accomplished X, Y, and Z. I mean,
mhm,
you spent a ton of time on. So you're with the audit, but you're doing
yeah,
this thing with WellFed, or you're
yeah,
and like there's a million other things going on that sometimes it's like can be hard to name. And I
yeah.
guess to your
And it's
point, it's
hard
hard
to
to explain
yeah.
what is going on.
And it's hard to do. Like for other nonprofit professionals, I think a lot of people struggle with this and maybe just to feel like seen and heard is that it's actually really hard to do. Like I will never forget, and I'm so thankful I don't have to do this anymore. When I would run kinship on Fridays and you'd finish up around noon or one or whatever, and you'd be like, great, now I have the whole rest of the day. And it's like, but you don't. Like, because running kinship,
You're
even though you're
depleted,
done,
the
yeah,
sun cooked you, you're
yeah,
starving, and you haven't started your work yet.
correct.
This is
Yeah.
now what I'm experiencing with the drop.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and I'm super grateful as we get other people in place that I can step away a little
Yeah.
bit because I'm like, I actually have a lot of work to do. Like the
Yeah.
bike shop's like, are you going to pick up these deposits? I'm like, I can't leave the
Yeah.
building, and it's hard to be in all these places. And yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up. It's true.
Yeah.
Appreciative of kind of a growing org and other people on
In the
the
same
team.
space. Yeah. Well, for this week in Tampa history, we're gonna go back to May 15th, 1912, when Tampa Union Station officially opened.
Yeah, it's such a cool, iconic, still just an amazing building in town. Like when you walk in, it's just such a killer place.
Yeah, and it was designed in this Italian Renaissance revival style and originally brought together multiple rail lines into one central station.
So back then, rail travel was huge. Union Station carried passengers through the Great Depression, both world wars, and eventually became into the Amtrak era.
But by 1950, highways and air travel started changing transportation in America, and ridership ultimately dropped.
Station actually got pretty close to demolition at one point.
But thankfully, it was registered as a National Register of Historic Places in 1974 and therefore preserved.
Now it's one of those rare pieces of kind of old Tampa that still feels alive and connected to the city. And I've actually gone there for like people have done little events in there. It's such a cool space.
You know, somebody was talking about Tampa the other day to me and calling it like a forgotten city. Um, well, no, they're not wrong. Like from the 1950s, like this early Tampa that existed.
Yeah.
And then until like, I'm sorry, when I moved to Tampa, there was nothing going on. Like it was hard. You were hard pressed. If Tampa was still
When
the
did you
same
get
way
here?
10 years ago, if Tampa was still the same way when I moved here 10 years ago, I would not live here today.
I think there was a lot going on. I feel you though.
You
I
had to
feel you.
dig for it and like you had to be super in the know and it was all in the burbs and or even in like pseudo burbs, let's say maybe not. Anyways, but I think Tampa has so much history. It has so much value. It is a really cool place. But anyways, they were kind of describing it as a forgotten city and about how in the past like 10, 20 years even there's been like this breath of life pushed into it. Um, but there was like a gap there where like the railway shut down and
Yeah.
and people moved away and it just like, Miami blossomed and Orlando grew and like I feel like Tampa was kind of just like hanging like people didn't really know where it was, what it was doing. I think that's changed.
Does not resonate with me at all, but I don't want to argue about it here. Why don't we jump into a new segment we're going to try to do for this show that we're going to do a city council spotlight.
Yes. So we spent a lot of time talking about headlines, but city council decisions ultimately shape a ton of what Tampa becomes.
And so for this segment, we're pulling information from what's called the Tampa Monitor. By the way, you should subscribe to the Tampa Monitor. It does a really great, thorough breakdown of the city council meetings, agenda items. It's an incredible source. So we'll be pulling from that for this.
Yes. And so this week's big item is a major funding request connected to the Ybor Harbor development in Channelside.
So the project is tied to developer Daryl Shaw, who's kind of with that investment group we see behind all the development going on through Ybor. And this one comes with a total estimated cost of about $211 million.
They requested $50 million in CRA funding, though staff in the CAC recommended lowering that to $35 million, which apparently the developers are in fact open to.
The development is broken into different wharfs. So you have the north, east, west, kind of leaning into that harbor theme.
Which is kind of cool.
It is.
Yeah, and the funding would be spread out starting in 2029 through 2033.
So this is one of the stories that may sound technical now, but it's part of this much bigger conversation. I mean, you're talking about what Tampa's growing into. I mean, and we are right on the front of what's being built here and the investment in kind of our.
So then you agree with me? You said
I do not agree
right
with
on
you.
the front, which would argue that it's the beginning of a new chapter.
Well, that's
for
true.
Tampa.
That is true. It is the beginning of a new chapter.
Yeah,
something massive is being built here.
That's all I'm saying.
That's all you're saying?
Yeah, it's the beginning.
Okay.
We're at the beginning of a new chapter for Tampa.
There's some major implications about what happened here 20 years ago. I feel like.
Getting into the news, this next story is honestly kind of wild.
Yeah, so Florida's Attorney General has issued a subpoena to the NFL over the Rooney Rule.
So the Rooney Rule requires teams to interview minority candidates for certain coaching and executive positions.
Now, the Attorney General's office is investigating whether those policies violate civil rights laws.
And the subpoena is asking for years of hiring data, diversity reports, and demographic information from the teams.
So no matter where you might land politically, definitely signals that kind of culture war conversation and continuing to move kind of directly into like sports and corporate hiring practices. And this is like an escalation of that same conversation between
what you're seeing across
NFL.
Yeah. Is it Florida State's attorney or was it the what you're seeing across the board in Florida?
So totally different note. Florida's wildlife officials voted this week to dramatically restrict giant manta ray captures.
This came after a viral video showed a manta ray caught in a net during a permitted capture tied to a SeaWorld facility in Abu Dhabi.
New rules reduce captures to just one manta ray every 2 years with a special permit.
That's just kind of wild that there's even permits around to what animals you're allowed to take away from the ocean and whatnot. Yeah. I'm honestly shocked SeaWorld still exists. But
I know.
Yeah. That's all I got to say about that story.
Yeah. So, yeah, it feels like, I don't know, some public pressure, social media, things have changed, I guess, a little bit. And,
Yeah, I think I signed a petition in like grade 3 for the end of SeaWorld. So, there was another rough week for Tampa police headlines.
Seems like week after week after week after week.
But we're shifting. It was Temple Terrace.
Oh yeah, honestly, it's just like the cops had a bad rap around here. So, a probationary Tampa police officer was arrested for a DUI after allegedly driving with a blood alcohol level more than twice the legal limit.
So the officer had only been hired in 2025 and was actually still in training, which is why he was probationary.
And then separately, Tampa police arrested 22 people after what they described as a teen takeover at Curtis Hixon Park.
So if you're wondering what that is, it's I guess teens are like rallying together on social media to essentially show up to a site at the same time. But ultimately they kind of escalate really quickly, and so police say the gathering involved fights, disruptions, narcotics, and weapons.
Yeah, it's like a flash mob, but one that's raising hell.
Yeah.
There was a ton of footage you guys have probably seen that was kind of airing online of kind of aerial footage. They said 2 firearms recovered, arrest range. The ages of the listed kids, they were children, all children, but as low as 12 years old and then as old as 21. But it looked like the average age was 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, it was really young.
All right. A jury also reached a verdict in the murder trial connected to Jacksonville rapper Julio Foolio.
So,
Okay,
I'm laughing.
why
I'm
Dahlia? Why
laughing
Dahlia? Go ahead.
because John said Julio Foolio earlier, and I was like, "Oh, is that the guy running for mayor?"
I was like, you don't get to run for mayor if your name's Julio.
And he's not running for mayor.
No,
So
he's
four
not.
men were found guilty of first-degree murder in the ambush shooting outside a Tampa Holiday Inn, and that includes Julio. Well, this was related to the murder trial connected to the rapper Julio Foolio.
Now the case moves into penalty phase where jurors will decide between a life sentence or the death penalty.
Right.
We still have.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could take
Um,
animals out of the ocean. You just
yeah.
kill folks for being a pest. Yep.
Another story I wanted to share is one that really stood out this week about a fire at a Valrico sober living home, displacing about a dozen men in recovery.
The home has helped men rebuilding their lives through sobriety for more than a decade.
And so residents lost basically everything due to the fire, including, clothing, keepsakes, computers, photos, etc.
But the organization is already working to relocate residents and to find a new permanent home.
I wish you knew the name of the organization.
I know. That was a
mistake on our end, but just to probably rally your support around and get the information out because I'm sure they're taking donations and whatnot.
yeah.
But it's just a reminder of how fragile recovery can be, and how important it is to get community support during this time.
Are you able to find that? So I'll go ahead and begin events while you look for that. So Lady Windermere's Fan by Oscar. So we're gonna get into events. Is with the Carrollwood Players Club. Lady Windermere's Fan by Oscar Wilde. Uh, I I don't actually know this particular play, but I do know Oscar Wilde is a phenomenal writer, playwright. I love so many of his scripts. I particularly know the ones that they've made movies from. But it's set in a Victorian world of London high society. Timeless Oscar Wilde farce explores the complexities of love, trust, social expectations, and captivates with, sharp dialogue, intriguing characters, and some unexpected kind of plot twists. It is $20. This will be Friday, May 15th, 8 p.m., Saturday, May 16th, 8 p.m., Sunday, is that May 17th?
I would imagine, yeah.
At 2 p.m., Friday the 22nd, 8 p.m., Saturday the 23rd, 8 p.m., and then the following Sunday the 24th, 2 p.m.
And I did get the information. The organization is called Seven Summit Pathways. And so if you're interested in maybe, throwing them some support, you can find them by going to summitpathways.com.
Thanks for pulling that up.
Do you want me to pick up events?
Sure.
So we've got the Tampa Bay Rays versus Miami Marlins taking place at Tropicana Field Friday, May 15th through Sunday, May 17th. Cost is $25 to attend. And then we have Family Day and Kids Market taking place at the Yingling Draft House and Kitchen on May 17th from 12 to 4. You can come enjoy brunch from 11 to 3. And then festivities include a DJ, interactive music, face painting, outdoor games, and more. And you'll also be able to shop the Children's Entrepreneur Market. Sounds like a great event.
I'm curious about the Children's Entrepreneur
Yeah.
Market. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Please do comment, share the show, rate the show, just engage with us in any way you can. Send stories for the following weeks. We would just love to hear from you and engage with you. Also, you can share this kind of video link from Spotify using tampatalk.xyz if you want to share the show. And if you'd like this to go into your inbox every Friday morning at 6 a.m. with a link directly to the show and then links to all the stories that we're talking through, you can subscribe at wordonthestreets.xyz.
All right. Well, that's what we're talking about, everyone. And thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Y'all be good.